Welcome to the story about how 17-year-old me got my mom arrested. Finally, after many years of everyone trying, I did it. You're all welcome. Everyone in that household should thank me because if it weren't for me, you'd all still be in that situation. This is gonna be a long one, so you need to go grab your snacks, grab your Coke, whatever you got. Grab that wrong to bip if you know what I mean. If you garden yourself frequently, because I do. I just did before this. I have to, because I'm about to talk about some traumatic stuff. That's my excuse, so your excuse is, well, you're about to watch a feature-length film, or at least maybe the episode of a Netflix show, so you should totally go grab it. You can blame it on me. I keep messing with my hair because I just don't know if I like the way it's laying. Well, that's fine. Is this okay? Can I see? Yeah, we're cool. This story dates back to my senior year, okay? More specifically, October 31st. Yes, babe, I'm aware that's Halloween. That's when all this went down. And it was kind of scary, but also the greatest night of my life. One of them. Because when you grow up with a mom like mine, we all know Linda at this point, but if you're new here, she is the most narcissistic, horrific, twisted woman that should have never had kids. She literally tried to unalive me when I was 13 years old. Why? Because I ran bad, okay? I didn't perform enough for her, so she had nothing to post on Facebook to brag on me about that week, and that upset her, all right? All the other moms getting to post about how well their kid did, how their child got first or got a personal best in the race, and I got like third in the whole race out of 200 people. I literally got 8th place at regionals once, and all my mom cared about is that I beat my teammate. If my teammate would have got 7th and I got 8th, she would have not been as happy. My mom would ground us for no reason and take our stuff. Like if she was having a bad day at work, you can guarantee your ass you're gonna lose your console or your TV or your phone or whatever that night. And when she wasn't yelling at us, she was yelling at my dad. But my dad's not innocent either. He was the enabler, and he would just sit there in his chair and let it all happen like he had just given up on it all, okay? He was the type that was like, well, I got kids and I guess it's better we stay together than not be here because I can't leave them with her, because you know how the system works. They're gonna leave the kids with the mom no matter what, even if the mom is kind of worse. But don't think that he's the hero, because when I was 19, he like touched up on my dad. What? I know, what the hell? I'm just as confused as you. Before we get into the events that happened on Halloween though, we have to talk a little bit about what led up to it. I had to actually testify against my mom in court. That was a whole thing. Had to raise my hand and swear I do and all that. Not on the Bible or anything, but up in the air like Judge Judy. It was real cool. I got to miss school and everything that Tuesday. Hope you guys like my shirt, by the way. It says, may the bridges I burn light my way. I burn bridges a lot, but I make sure I'm on the other side first. And that's on BPD and avoidant attachment issues. But for some reason, my junior to senior year, my parents were just sick of each other, okay? It was after 25 years, they just couldn't put it to bed anymore. And my dad wanted a divorce. But my mom, being the mom she is, climbed on top of his lap and cried for hours, okay? 10 fucking hours at one point. I'm not even exaggerating. She would just sit on top of him and cry, yell in his ear, oh Harold, please don't divorce me. I can't do it alone. Please, I can't lose this house. I love you and I love the kids and I love it here and I'll go get therapy. I really, really will. I know I say that every fucking year when we have this conversation and then not actually do it, but I really mean it this time. I'll totally get therapy and I'll quit yelling at you and hitting you and blaming you for everything, and I'll quit calling you all slurs and the R word, and I swear I'll just be a great wife. And then he like effed her for the first time in like 5 years, and he like fell for it, and he's like, well, I'll just give it one more try, Jess. You don't understand. I'll just give it one more try. If I divorce her, I could lose the land that I've lived on for years, which that I get. Like, he lived on that land since we were 3, and he died owning that land, okay? Which is great and all. So I understood that part, but it's like, dude, is the land really worth, like, your sanity and health? Because my dad had congestive heart failure, and, dude, when he would be in the hospital strapped up and my mom would walk in the room, his heart rate would go up on the monitor every time. Like, she was literally killing him. So I think that if they hadn't divorced, like, he probably would have died way sooner than he did. He got like a 3.5 good years without her there, so good for him. But like, dude, I honestly wish my parents divorced. Like, yeah, I know at first we probably would have had to go with her, but when I'm 12, I could pick, and I could have picked to go with him, you know? And like, I probably would have done that. I just don't get it. I think them being apart is better than being together in a loveless marriage, where the only example I have of how a relationship would look like is yelling and screaming and calling each other names and hitting each other. That was my example, and now I have a bunch of issues. So what the hell? Any parents watching, you're in a loveless marriage and you know it. Do not stay for the benefit of the kids, because there is no benefit there. The only person you're helping is yourself, because you don't want to admit that your marriage is over. You're actually kind of selfish by staying. And don't be like, oh, you're a kid, you don't know. I'm 26 years old. I just don't look like it, but I know what I'm talking about. because I've seen it with my own eyes. My entire childhood, I saw it, okay? Don't do that. I was really mad at my dad. That whole summer, I was so mad at him. I got back at him by going out with this guy that he didn't like and like sneaking out of the house and stuff. And like, he would take my car keys and my phone. And then the moment that I would get it back, I would like lie, say I was going to a friend's house, and then I go to the boy's house. Awful things ended up happening with that boy in his like aunt's trailer, but that's a story for another time. I don't even know if I can tell that one, because like, that's embarrassing stuff. But I was really mad at my dad, so I like acted out by going out with that guy and just being a complete stain, right? No amount of Lysol or bleach could fix me. But finally, we started going to therapy. That lasted like a little bit of time. That therapist was really awful, by the way. That therapist would blatantly rub things in my parents' faces. Like, I remember my dad was sharing how upset he was about what I was doing with that boy. He talked about how I flaunted wearing the boy's hoodie around for like 3 days in his face. And that's not really the case. I mean, it was a little bit. You know, this is kind of a snub to walk by my parents in this boy's hoodie with his last name on it, but the reason I had it on for 3 days is because I knew if I took it off and my dad got a hold of it, he would probably cut it to bits. And my dad said, you know what? I probably fucking would have. That's why I was wearing it. When that conversation was taking place, the therapist literally laughed, and then he like clapped his hands and he goes, ha ha, nice one, and held his hand out for me to shake in front of my parents. And my dad had just left the room and cried and came back. And I'd never seen my dad cry, maybe like once or twice in my whole time knowing my dad, I've seen him cry twice, and that was one of them. For him to go cry and come back and be that vulnerable as a man, and then the therapist to like laugh about it, about the idea of me taunting my parents with the hoodie. My parents were being ridiculous, but you don't like make it that obvious that you think that in front of them. Like, as a therapist, you're supposed to be kind of neutral, and he literally held his hand out for me to shake, and I left him hanging. I completely ignored it, and I said, no, that's not why I was wearing it. And that's when I went into my explanation as to why I was wearing it, and that guy put his hand down real fast, and I think he felt embarrassed, as he freaking should. My dad used to call that guy Namaste. Oh yeah, we gotta go to Namaste today. We gotta go see Namaste. I don't even know what Namaste means. I think it's something with to do like maybe meditation. I don't know. Comment down below if you know what Namaste means. I don't think it has anything to do with therapy or counseling, but to each his own. My dad's just a dumbass. My mom slowly quit going to that though. Like, she would come up with excuses. Oh, I have work, or oh, I don't feel well. So it would be me and my dad going, and my therapist was like, isn't the whole point of you guys paying $300 to me every freaking week is for like marriage counseling or family therapy? This isn't gonna work with just you two here. Which that really helped me and my dad mend our relationship. We even got to the point where he was gonna let Jacob come visit the house, although Jacob ended up dumping me because I wasn't doing the deed with him, because I was 17 and he was 19 and I didn't feel like it. He couldn't wait for me to be 18 and graduated to pop that cherry, because I was a virgin till like 21, and then I finally was like, okay, I want to see what it's about. So I got really drunk and then did it with a friend that I met in a psych ward. Don't do that. That guy's dead, by the way, now. Yeah, his name was Brian. Yeah, he died. He was kind of an asshole, low-key. I'm not gonna lie, he really did suck. I need to make a merch shirt that says that's a story for another time. I really do have a lot of stories for other times. We will get there too, because I'm gonna do this every week until I die. Hopefully I don't die before I get to the damn point. Hey, you guys wanted this to be like longer. Here you go. I'll even dance a bit. Get that fucking watch time going. We stay to the end, I'll even twerk. No, I'm not gonna do that. There's kids that watch this, so I'm not gonna do that. It's the thought that matters. She ends up like not coming to therapy anymore though, my mom. Like, I think she went to maybe 3 sessions and that was it. And then the guy never saw her again. I can't remember what the catalyst was. I think they started fighting a lot more at home, and like my dad saw that things weren't changing. So me and my dad had a long conversation, and he asked me like, you know, do you want me to do this divorce, Jess? Because if I do, we may end up losing the house. That means we might have to go live in an apartment, and I can't take all the pets with us. So you're gonna have to say goodbye to the pets, and who knows what Linda will do to them. And you're not gonna be able to take all of your stuff. You're gonna have to pick and choose what stuff you take. Like, you can't take all of your books, for example. Begging my dad if we could at least take one dog, like maybe Sandy, because she was my childhood pet. We'd had her the longest, and she was smaller than Maggie, who was a Pyrenees. I think we were gonna get to take her. I wasn't gonna be able to take Maggie or our cat that lived outside. Or we had 2 cats actually at the time. I couldn't take either of them. And he explained all that to me, and he said, you know, money would also be really tight. Like, you're not gonna get birthday or Christmas presents because I'm gonna be strapped, because my dad was on disability because he was fucking dying. So he only got like $2,000 a month and then a little bit extra for me. And I was like, Dad, this has been an entire childhood of watching you be miserable with her, and her treating me like crap and my older brother like crap. Me and my brother didn't even have a relationship during our childhood, or a relationship at all at this point, and still don't, because of the way my mom pitted us against one another and scapegoated him a lot and made me the golden child. When he graduated, he fucking dipped and left. He said, see ya, and we barely saw him, only on Christmas really. I barely saw my big brother, and I don't blame him. And then her focus went to me and my sport that I happened to be excelling at, and that sucked. I need to do a video about about my experience like running. I know I did one about she forced me to run for miles, but like I want to do a really detailed video about that experience because that was horrible. When you have a narcissistic parent, they find out that their child is skilled at something they can persecute and get attention with themselves and live through you, they'll pounce on that like a fucking leopard on a gazelle. That's what my mom was. Like, she was the predator and I was the prey. I got her a lot of Facebook likes and that's all that mattered. That's all I was. I was only a good child if I got her good attention. Divorce her please. And he's like, okay, well, then we're gonna go in together to the lawyer. And my dad actually stole my mom's lawyer because my mom punched a kid in the face at the public pool in like 2000. So my dad went to that lawyer and said, you know, my wife that you hate that you helped get off, you know, those charges of punching that kid in the pool. Yeah, I want to divorce that bitch. And so that lawyer was like, yeah, you know, bet I never liked her anyway, so I'll help you. And he was really cool and chill and all that. So my mom gets served while I'm out with friends. That doesn't go well. End up having to rush home because my dad said that my mom was taking a bunch of pain pills, like over-the-counter pain pills, and like threatening to unalive. So I come home and I see the tail end of my mom doing that. And she was like taking the pills and shoving them in her mouth and then like gagging on them and choking and then taking more and gagging on him and choking, and it was just horrific to see your mom do that. After she did that, she got in her car and she drove away, and we didn't know where she was going. Turns out it was to work. She ended up texting me saying, I'm at work and you better hope that nothing happens to me while I'm at work. I ended up explaining that to my dad, and I'm like, dude, we gotta call 911 because she's like at work and we just saw her take all those. We didn't know that she kind of spit most of them out at the time, so I was really concerned that my mom was gonna like die, and like even though she'd been awful to me and had like literally tried to unalive me at that point, I still cared about her. So we called 911, and that made my mom really mad because she said the cops showed up and they had to like ask for her. All the eyes were on her, like the coworkers and the people in there. Everybody was just watching her as the cops marched her out of there to talk to her. But like, dude, it's just a wellness check because you literally just did that in front of us. Like, what do you expect, woman? What do you expect us to do? Obviously, we're gonna report that because I care about you and I didn't want you to die. Then she started to get kind of rude. Like the whole couple weeks after she was served, she would say really mean stuff. Like she told me that I was a home wrecker, that things were way better when it was just my older brother, and that if they stopped after my older brother, that this marriage wouldn't be falling apart, that me and my dad have a sick little relationship and I'm like his little wife. And I got really offended by that, but little did I know that she was onto something because something weird did happen later, which I'll talk about that sometime in another video. Yeah, she told me that she hated me, that she regretted having me, that I was a mistake, basically, that I was just the worst thing in her life. The best thing about the divorce is that she wouldn't have to be around me anymore. When I asked my mom why she would say all those things now, she would say, oh, I wanted you to feel the pain I was feeling. I wanted to hurt you like you hurt me. How did I hurt you? Like, the divorce is between you and him. Like, yeah, my dad asked me what I thought about it. I vote for the divorce. It was ultimately his choice. He's the adult. You had 25 years to fix your shit. My dad said the moment she got pregnant, she turned like a snake. You had 25 years to fix that. This isn't my fault. I feel like I'm on a Netflix failed special here. But those whole couple weeks were hell, and like we wanted her out. Like I remember we went to the lawyer and we were like, living with her is awful, and the lawyer insisted you need to keep occupancy of the house because if you give up occupancy of the house, it'll be harder to keep the house during the divorce. Whoever lives there kind of has a stronger claim. So we were trying to grin and bear it, but then things were just getting worse. My dad literally was starting to feel fear for our safety, thought that my mom could snap and do something. Every time we would come home, she would have a mean comment to say, and she would just be doing this the whole night, and she would like unplug the internet and just be awful and say things like, oh, you're still alive, to my dad. Oh, I hope you have a heart attack today. What would make me feel really happy is if you just had a heart attack today. And she would talk about how she would do awful things to all of my stuff if we did move out and things like that, or all the things she was gonna take with her because she bought it all, so technically it's hers. How she was gonna take my car and take the dogs. Just awful. My mom's an awful human. She's bitch. Like, I used to think she just has BPD, but like, it's too malicious. BPD comes from abandonment issues and how they love you so much that the fear of losing you makes them hurt you. My mom's like straight up NPD. She has never had empathy for me. I don't even think she feels empathy for herself when bad things happen to her. She just blames other people. It's never her fault. It's never woe is me. It's always fuck you, fuck you. Narcissist. It finally comes to a point where we can't take it anymore. So my dad and I go back to the lawyer and he's like, listen, man, we can't do this. Like, this is affecting my kid. I want my daughter to have a good senior year. It's like October now. What can we do? And he's like, get out of the house. I know it'll make things harder, but I'll work harder. I'll see what I can do to make sure that you still get to keep that land, but go get an apartment somewhere. So we start looking for an apartment. The moment we leave there, we start checking them out. Find this one. It actually is kind of like this one, where the upstairs is a loft with a bathroom, and then there's a bedroom downstairs with a space spare bathroom, and my dad was gonna take the smaller one downstairs and give me the loft with the master bathroom because he's dope, but also because he had a prosthetic leg and couldn't come up the stairs anyway. I was cool with it. We would have been able to have Sandy there, but that's it. No other pets. And I definitely would have had to pick and choose what I brought. It was gonna be tight. Me being the kid that I am, I'm thinking my mom's not gonna let me take a lot of stuff, and we're not gonna be able to afford some of the things that me and my mom share, like the flat iron or expensive makeup from Sephora and Ulta. So I start to pack bags, and I should have done this in the middle of the night. I don't know what I was thinking really. When I went back there to start packing bags from the bathroom and put like our flat iron in it so I could put it in my trunk and take it with us, my mom wasn't like in the living room, and I don't know why I didn't check to make sure that she hadn't migrated to the living room before I walked by, but I didn't. I just didn't because I'm an idiot. My cocky little ass leaves the bathroom with a bag full of our shared items. I start walking down the hall, and as I get to the end of the hall and I look up, I realize my mom's sitting there. Sorry, it's a couple hours later. My roommate's mom came home because she's like staying with us temporarily until she finds a place, so I didn't feel comfortable filming in front of her. But now we can talk. I feel like the lighting's different, is it? I don't know. I need to cut my hair back here, but I need a professional to do it. So for now, I just kind of twist it and it'll like kind of stay. Temporarily. Does my hair look okay, guys? Why does my forehead look like a dry erase board? Anyways, I walk down the hall, and like I said, my mom is sitting right on the end of the couch, smoking a fucking cigarette. I'm standing there with a box of our shared items, and she looks up and makes direct eye contact with me. She stares into my soul, guys. If a look could kill, I would have dropped dead right there, melted into a puddle like the witch from Wizard of Oz. I immediately yeet out the front door because I was gonna go through the back really quick because I thought she was in the kitchen on her computer, not in the living room hanging out with people, because why would she do that? Fucking hair. Count how many times I have to hide my hair back behind my head so I don't look feminine. The whole, you know. If you get it correct, you get a prize. I'm just kidding. I'm not giving you a prize. I'm broken. I'm not that generous. I yeet out the front door. I'm running for my life to my car. I put the stuff in the trunk and I'm thinking, well, great. I'm not getting anything else, so whatever I got, I hope that's sufficient enough because my mom's probably gonna go in there and just take it all. I come back in, she's not really doing anything other than yelling. So I just continue packing up stuff. I'm starting to pack up another box. I take the Keurig, guys. I took the whole Keurig. I love instant coffee. My dad can't afford a Keurig, so I'm like, I'm gonna steal the Keurig. This is when things were starting to ramp up. My dad had pulled out his phone and he was recording my mom as she yelled at him. And she was getting closer and closer to him, which they would get face to face all the time. That's not new to. If you hear it clinging in the background, that's my dog's collar. Go on, buddy, get on the bed. Get on the bed, buddy. Shasta, get on the bed. Please come over here by me. Okay. Well, I need to film. Well, thank you, bud. He came over to give me a kiss because he can sense the intensity of the situation. I look like Mr. Potato Head. I hate this. I look like Humpty Dumpty. I am never bringing the camera that close ever again. I'm just gonna keep talking as though he's not here. So, can you not? I'm getting distracted. There's so many animals. We have 5 cats and a dog. And they're all in here. So I have that second box of stuff. And like I said, at this point, my mom is just yelling at my dad, which that's completely normal. She yells at him all the time, but she's getting pretty close, which is, like I said, is also pretty normal. But there's something different about her tone. Like she's being very, very, what's the word? Exaggerated with her arm movements. She's screaming at the top of her lungs, just yelling at him. Get the phone out of my face. You got the phone in my face just to work me up. He was recording her just because... Was that dog hair? He was just recording her because that's what the lawyer told him to do. Not because he wanted to work her up. Like, that's the last thing we wanted. That's the last thing we wanted was to work her up. We want her to calm down. Right? Yeah. What do you need? I think he's hungry. 1 second. I'm just ignoring it though. My focus is getting out the door and getting this stuff to my car. I see them out of my peripheral. My dad's sitting in the chair like this with his phone. My mom is standing up over him, like kind of shouting down at him. I go to the back door right there. That's right there in front of them because our living room had the back door in the same room for whatever reason. I go to the back door and I go to start opening it. Well, then I see out of my peripheral, my mom climbs on top of my dad. I've never seen her do that before. I've never seen her get physical with my father, only with us kids. Because my mom knew if she hit my dad, he was gonna hit her back and he wasn't gonna stop. That was just an underlying unspoken thing. And my dad did say that when I was a teenager. She knew not to hit me. Because if she hit me, I would have the legal right to hit her and I wouldn't stop. Okay? Jesus. Divorce, please. I had to pause when she got on top of him like that. It completely snapped me out of my selfish, let me see how many things I can get before we moved. She's completely on top of him, grabbing at his limbs, trying to get the phone. I don't know why she wanted the phone so bad. I guess she wanted to delete the video of her yelling because maybe she thought he would post it or something. So she's trying to get the phone from him, but she's grabbing at his arms, on top of him with all of her body weight, and he's going, ow, ow. In the midst of it all, my dad motioned to me. While she was on top of him, he motioned to me like, which that basically meant, what are you doing? Record this. This all happened within a span of a few seconds. I walk in to go to the door. Out of my peripheral, my mom jumps on him. 2 seconds later, my dad motions at me, and I get my phone out of my pocket. I have to drop a couple things to do it, but I get my phone out of my pocket. I flip up the camera. I press record, and I hold the phone out like this. It takes her 7 seconds to realize that I'm recording her. Well, technically like 4. She was on him for like 4 more seconds, realizes my phone is on her now, and this situation looks way worse than just her verbally yelling at him like that. You know, she's thinking, I gotta delete that video because it's gonna look bad if my husband, who's crippled, posts a video of me talking down on him, cussing at him, saying slurs and to die and all this on the internet. But now we got a video of me on top of him, grabbing at him and him going, ow, that's not good. So within 4 seconds, she gets off him and turns to me and reaches out and says, give me my stuff. And that's when my video cuts off. And I'll blur my dad's face because he's deceased and he can't consent.
You hear me? Now, you're taking me.
Get off my dad!
Stop taking
Get off my dad! Get away from
Give me my stuff.
So when she turned to reach out and grab it from me, you can see in the video my dad's starting to get up from his chair. I'd been in the room for like 10-15 seconds. 5 seconds of me walking and going to the door, seeing that. A few more seconds of me getting my phone out. 4 or 5 seconds of my mom realizing she's being recorded. The last 2 or 3 of her reaching out to grab it. This is all 15 seconds that I just walked innocently into this room, and all of a sudden this is happening. I'm 17 years old and my parents are physically attacking each other, and now my mom's coming at me. She starts grabbing at me and I start trying to defend myself and protect the Keurig. Because I'm still holding the fucking Keurig. I'm recording her, but I got the damn Keurig in my hand like a baby. I end up having to drop everything except the phone because my mom's trying to get my phone now. And I can't let her get my phone because the video that I have is incriminating evidence. I just recorded an assault. I did. So she's trying to get the phone from me, and I knew if she gets this phone from me, she's gonna break it in half, she's gonna drop it in the toilet, she's gonna do something, and I didn't have my iCloud set up, so I had to keep that phone because that video was only on that phone. It's not gonna go anywhere on the internet. It's gonna be gone if she breaks that phone. My dad knows this too. That's why he got up out of the chair and he lunged at my mom. And the video does cut off, but I'll explain the rest because I was there. Surprise, so I can tell you the rest. Oh. He just knows that this is an intense story. I love you, Bug. Shasta Brick. So after the camera cuts off and my dad's getting up, he grabs my mom into a bear hug and he pulls her away from me. They tussle for like 1 or 2 seconds and then they both end up falling to the ground because my dad swung her to the ground. We told the police that he fell, that he slipped and he fell, because that's what it kind of looked like to me. On God. Because I didn't lie completely. It did look like he slipped and fell, but he told me after the fact that he threw her on purpose. Told the police that it looked like he tripped because of his prosthetic and he fell, and that's why she hit the floor. And then my mom says that she had to get shoulder surgery because of that. The shoulder she got surgery on was the opposite one that she landed on when my dad tossed her down. So that doesn't make any sense, but whatever. He's tussling with her, trying to get the phone from her, but my dad again has heart failure, so he runs out of oxygen pretty quick. He can only breathe for a certain amount of time. What are you doing? He's got about 20-30 seconds in him before he can't hang on to her anymore. And my dad starts yelling at me, Jess, get the phone, get the phone. Remember, at the start of this, my mom's just yelling at him when I walk in the room, and now they're on the floor fighting in front of me with my phone, held hostage between these 2 motherfuckers. And I'm 17. What do? I dive down and I start fighting my own mother. I'm trying to get the phone out of her hands. It's just not coming. The grip she has on it is tighter than the Ocean's grip on the Titan sub before it imploded, okay? Like, she's holding onto it like her life depends on it because it does. Because if we get that footage, that's it, man. You're cooked. You're done. Her grip's so tight. All my mind is on is I have to get my phone back. She can't win this time. She can't talk her way out of this and smirk at the cops and get away with it. She can't. Also, if you're wondering why the traffic cone is there, I stole that from a park when I was drunk in college, and his name is Jeffrey. I guess I didn't have to, but I chose to claw at my mom's hands. And I didn't know it at the time, but I made her bleed. And I saw her hands later, and I felt there was blood running down them like it was a horror scene. But I was trying to get the phone, and she wouldn't let go even then. So I started punching her face. I believe I punched it twice. They weren't hard punches. I used to regret not punching harder throughout in college. I was like, damn, I got in that fight. This all happened 3 weeks before I turned 18. That was the only time I had to punch my mom and not get in big trouble. And I wish I would have punched her harder. Like, it was 2 of these. Like I was tentative about it, but I still punched her face. And she goes, ow, ow. And then I start clawing at her hands again, and she finally releases the phone. I finally get it. And my dad lets go of her, and I bolt out the back door. And my dad's yelling, call the cops, call the cops. I run out to the garage area. I call 911. I don't know if my mom is continuing to attack my dad or not. She could be in there murdering him. Like one of those crazy ladies on Wives with Knives. She could be doing that, and I don't know. But I'm just outside, and I call 911, and I tell them my mom just attacked my dad. Can you please get here? The Fairfield County Police Department in Lancaster, Ohio took 30 minutes to get there. Now, we had called them a lot over silly stuff, over really silly domestic stuff that wasn't physical, so they thought it was the boy that cried wolf. You still respond because that stuff escalates. If it's domestic and you're getting a lot of calls in a small period of time, it's gonna escalate when nothing changes in the home. When no one's removed from the home, something's gonna happen. And this was the something, and they took 30 minutes to get there, and somebody could have been unalived in that time. And that's why I hate the Fairfield County Police Department. This is for them. The police finally come, and the first thing they do is separate us all. Me and my dad are out front, my mom's in the back. They actually call an ambulance for her. She asks for one, because she wants to play victim, so yeah, I need an ambulance, I'm hurt, which in her defense, she was bleeding. Like, her hand was gushing. They check out her hand, though. She's all good. We're talking to the police. They get both of our statements. They take my dad aside, then they take me aside. I'm really smart. I've seen all the detective shows. I gave the same statement that I assumed my dad would give. It did look like he might have slammed her, but I didn't know for sure. I wasn't 100 on that. So it's technically not a lie when I get into character and I look at this bastard police officer who took forever to show up because he doesn't care and go, oh, I don't know, officer. It just happened so fast. You know, my dad has a prosthetic leg. It just kind of looked like he slipped. Like, I think he just slipped. I don't know. It happened so fast. Yeah. But I technically wasn't lying, though, because it did happen so fast, and it did kind of look like he slipped. But he probably threw her, and he did tell me that he did, so I did confirm what I saw. You know, okay, I was right on that. But at the time, I didn't know, so you can't do anything. Not that they would come after us for, like, lying under oath, because they don't care. They take my statement. They take my dad's. I show them the video, and they're like, yeah, you know, this is assault. Do you guys want to press charges? Me and my dad, we look at the cop, and then we look at each other, and then we look back at the cop, and we're like, finally, God, please, yes, arrest the bitch. Thank you. First time you guys showed up, I was 4, and that's the first time I remember, okay? You guys probably came a lot before that, but I remember when I was 4 years old, you guys showed up and did nothing, and continued to show up and do nothing my whole childhood. 3 weeks before I turned 18, you finally arrest her? Really? When my childhood is over? Fuck you, Lancaster Police Department. Fuck Fairfield County. Sorry for how graphic this is. I know there's kids that watch me, but I know you guys know. You see that. I know you guys see that gesture a lot anyway, so. After we both say yes, they start walking over to where my mom is, and my mom had kind of like, she would walk around towards where our side was and kind of shout at us and be like, she's gonna get arrested. She's gonna get arrested for what she did. I don't know where you got that, because we're all having a different kind of conversation over here. And next thing I see, my mom is getting her hands yanked behind her back, and she's getting cuffed, and she's getting walked to the police car, and she's getting her head shoved underneath, and the door slams. And the whole time she's boohooing, crying at us. And then I watched her in the figure in the car. I'll never forget her figure in the car. She's sitting there in the back seat like this. All the times we called the police, and it always ended in her smirking, me being forced to hug her, and her whispering some bullshit. You thought. I told you I would get away with it. After years of that, to finally see her do this. Just hang her head in defeat. Because the narcissist finally lost. She ends up going to jail. It's a Saturday night. She's there until Monday morning, man. The court date was Tuesday, so I got to miss school that day. But I had to go and testify against my mom. If you guys want to hear about that, that's going to be part 2 for next Friday. I know that was all pretty heavy, and that's only half the story because 17-year-old me had to go on the stand and testify against this woman, and we don't even know if we're gonna get the house or not, or if we're still gonna have to leave. And there's a lot of bull crap that happened during that whole situation, and I want you guys to hear about it. But that's all for next Friday at 3 p.m. as usual, so you better come back if you want to hear the rest of the tea. Anyways, I hope you had a great time. Please hit that subscribe button because it really means a lot to me. This is my dream, being a YouTuber. I always wanted to do it as a little kid, so it's really awesome that I'm now like actually talking to a camera and posting videos and learning how to edit, and I've got a little community and we like communicate, and I just love it so much. So please hit subscribe if you can, hit that like button and comment and all that stuff. See you next Friday at 3. Bye. Woo!